Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the basement and we're going to be doing things a little different today. We're going to be making some modifications on a common tool that most of us have or should have.
And that tool is the vacuum. Now we are going to be modifying this vacuum because although it is a perfect vacuum and I have no problems with it, it does not have a bag like application. Like you cannot install a bag on this. And just so I'll give you an overview of what it is. It's an M12 Milwaukee vacuum. Here goes the battery. I usually use the 12 amp battery. Here goes the battery. Here goes the hose. And you know, some hose adapters here, on and off switch, all the basics, which is fine and perfect. But to be honest, I really like vacuum bags. And as you guys can see here, all you have is a filter, and you can take off the filter and you have this mechanism that allows you to work with water. So you're able to use this tank both for dirt and water. But I really like putting vacuum bags on all my vacuums just so that the life of the vacuum filter itself can last long, and also everything in here could stay somewhat mildly clean, because in emergencies, if this is filled with dirt and I have to get like water picked up, it's unfortunate that I have to like empty this out and then I could start going to work with picking up water. But if I have the bags, all I have to do is disattach it from this end and start picking up the water. So after doing some research, I realized that they do sell bags. As you can see here, they do sell bags, but not for this vacuum. This mechanism, I guess, this bracket and this bag is made for the newer M18 and the M12 vacuum. I think the M12, but for sure the M18 vacuum, you use this bracket to hook it up to it. I don't want to go out of my way and order I think it's like $150, $200 vacuum when I have this vacuum. So what I'm going to be trying to do is get this plate somehow, let me take this off, to work on here like this. Now we have already some problems that we have to work with, which is we have these two things that are sticking out, and we have here, which is the battery tray itself. I know 100% we are going to be cutting these two studs out, and we're going to be cutting a little bit into the battery tray. And worst case scenario, if we do cut into the battery tray, I am going to be using some total bolt fairing compound like this one to cover that hole so that dirt won't go in there. But I also have to find a way of how I'm going to be gluing this in place. Now, if you look here, this hole is a bit aligned, but it is poking out where the gasket is. So not only do I have to find another way to make this fit, like maybe in an angle like this because it's sticking out, also because the bag itself, this hose is in the middle. So if we leave it just the way it is, let me see if I can get this on camera. If we leave it just the way it is and leave it flat, it's gonna be sticking out way too much over here. So the goal is to put it in an angle like so. Okay, it looks weird, but you guys will understand as soon as I start working on this. So the first goal is, since this is the cheapest part, I'm going to be cutting this up and making it as slow as possible. I'm looking to cut it here, this corner, also making this side flat, this side over here flat. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. Also going to be getting rid of this big piece. Well, maybe I'll leave this big piece just because I do not know yet how I'm going to be putting this in place, if it's going to be with fasteners or glue. So I'm just going to be cutting this and this bottom part to get it flat. And that's how we're going to start the video.
Now I want you to have this in mind. This is new to me. I've never done this before, and this might be a fail. But there's only one way to find out if this is doable or not, and it's to start cutting and see where we end up.
Well, this piece went as smooth as possible. Now it is flat and as small as we can get it for now. And now what we're going to be doing, let me see if I can show you exactly now that the piece is smaller. We are going to try and get this in line so that these three important pieces don't have to get affected by the edge and also the battery pack, because I want to cut into this compartment as little as possible. So the goal will be to get this part of the circle as close to the top right there and as low this way as possible. I don't know if I'm explaining that correct, but the point is to make sure this edge right here is not in conflict with this right here, and we're able to cut, which it looks like it isn't. Also, this top part right here is not in conflict with this over here. So mainly the bulk of the work is gonna be happening right here in the battery box, where I should cut this piece off and then start cutting off the battery box section so that, you know, we can get this situated. But yeah, we are going to have it in an angle to have the bag coming this way like so. So let me cut this off over here and then start cutting into this battery box. It's kind of scary, but it makes for an interesting video. So check out where we are. We have taken out and cut into the battery box itself, and we also installed the hose itself. This is where it's going to go, pointing in that direction. We didn't have to cut off so much here, but that's okay. It is what it is. But if you pick this up, these two tabs that were here, which is what I thought it was holding two screws that I guess is holding this whole piece together. We do have a screw in here, and I'm just hoping that that is holding this piece together as much as these two were, but this is all a flip of a coin. And if you look here, and I don't think you could really see, the battery's in there, and I'm able to put my finger there. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the battery out and putting some total bolt fairing compound and trying to build this back up, but thick in the inside, so that I am able to sand away what I don't need, so that this could fit perfectly in there and have a seal between the battery box compartment and the dust collection compartment, so it's not sucking air from there and here at the same exact time. So let's get to mixing some of the fairing compound and shoving it in this box. Okay, I put the fairing compound, and as you guys can see, I made a good connection from the inside. So this should be holding in place. We're gonna give it about 3 hours for it to cure, and then we're going to be filling that cavity up even more. And my goal was to just build it from this side out, but it looks like it's holding on the inside. We're gonna keep it just the way that it is, and then just keep building out to this side of the space. So pretty much filling in that cavity like a dentist does on our teeth. So yeah, and then when the time comes, I'm going to sand this to get it where we need it to fit this bracket. And then sanding the inside so the battery could fit. But for now, let's let this cure. And in the next video, you'll see me tapping it to make sure it holds, and then filling it up more. So there you go. That's how it looks inside. The giant battery, the 12 amp battery, fits in there perfectly with no problems, with no interference. I do have to clean this and wipe it down, but I'll do that off camera because this video is pretty long as it is. And over here, we got the bracket in. You guys saw me test it. I had to sand a little bit over here so I was able to come in and out with no problems and no bogging down. I drilled holes like you guys saw and scraped the bottom so that the PL and the fairing compound from Total Boat could grab tightly. And yeah, it came out great. I'm really happy with how it came out. How does it work? We won't know until next week's video because I have a project that is extremely dusty and we are going to be using the fairing compound. So we're going to see how this vacuum performs. in the next video, and I'll show you what it is at the end of this video, what we're gonna be doing. But I really want to mention this before I forget. This fairing compound is the best. I love working with this stuff. I've worked with Bondo in the past, but Bondo has this thing where you have to make like a blob and then put a line of the hardener and then mix it. And then sometimes you'll get like 20 minutes of cure time, and sometimes you get like 3 hours, 4 hours. Unfortunately, this is 3 hours guaranteed. You're gonna have to wait about 3 hours to get that to cure the fairing compound. But at least the longest it's gonna last is 3 hours, and when it's done, it's easy to sand, and it's a great product. I really enjoy it. So let me put this together. Let me put the bag on it, and let's see how it looks and how it performs without picking up any dust, of course. We'll save that for the next video. So there you go. The project is officially done, and it looks like we did nothing to it. It looks like a standard M18 classic vacuum. Only when you take out the battery do you see some sins. But whew, I had to get some dust out of there. But we're all good. We're looking good, and it's all good. But this video is long enough, so we're going to test this and put it to its limits on the next video, because we are going to be using a lot of this fairing compound. And what we're going to be doing is filling in these spaces here, whatever this is. We're going to be trying to make this door flat, but we're going to start with this panel first to see how smooth we could get it, and then we're going to do the rest. But that's going to be for next week's video, so stay tuned for that, and I'll get into details on why we're doing that and yada yada yada. So I hope you like this change of pace on this video. I'm sorry if it was a bit long, but I wanted to go into details on what I did in this project. But I really love how this went. I really love using the Total Boat fairing compound, and I enjoy it. I enjoyed this project a lot, and I'm happy with how it looks and how it turned out. So if you want to see more projects like this, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to come up with other things. And I guess I could close this video. If you learned something new, you can show me by giving me a like. Any comments or questions, leave it in the comments down below. And if you're interested in seeing me modify this door and other tool modifications and more work in the apartment and basement, consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks.